on the channel, the rubber hits the road again with the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, Major Bendy's Big Rubber Guys, Harley Race, Jeff Hardy, and the Brooklyn Brawler.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, Major Bendy's Big Rubber Guys unboxing and review. And today, we got the latest wave with old Harley Race, Brooklyn Brawler, and Jeff Hardy. And of course, for all your Major Bendy's Big Rubber Guy needs, hit up MajorBendy's.com. That's exactly what I did. Got my pre-order in, usually a month-long pre-order. They got one going on right now with Missy Hyatt, Rick the Model Martel, and the Brain Buster. So head over there if you're looking for some of the latest and greatest Big Rubber Guys. Get your pre-orders in. Of course, these sold out as of right now, so you got to look to third-party sellers, things like that, to pick these up. Maybe some Facebook groups. But of course, you know me, I love my LJNs from back in the day when I was a kid. Loving the Big Rubber Guys, and we're going to dive into it, and we're going to do this review like we do all the other reviews on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. We're going to start it off with a Brooklyn Brawler right here. One Steve Lombardi, and I remember as a kid reading a WWF magazine way back when. It was a friend of mine's older brother that had it, and he had it, of course, before I started watching wrestling, and it was pre-Brooklyn Brawler, and I remember just being blown away. Wait, that's the Brooklyn Brawler, and he was just a regular guy named Steve Lombardi, so blew my mind when I was a little kid, so I always think of that when I do see the Brooklyn Brawler. But the Brooklyn Brawler, I guess you could say a jobber, but a step up from the jobber. I'd even say a little bit of a step up from the Iron Mike Sharps of the world. He had a gimmick. He had Bobby Heenan as manager for a while. So he was a guy that was doing some business out there, but obviously couldn't beat the Ultimate Warriors of the world, the Herculeses, things like that. But he was a stalwart for many, many years in the WWF TV, even into the WWE a little bit as well. And we never got an action figure from him until the Jakks Classic Superstars days, of course. And that one a little bit suspect, even I would have to admit on that one. So very cool to get this gimmick here, as the Brooklyn Brawler is a guy could have fit into the LJN, definitely the Hasbro era. So I do like that we're getting this. This is kind of the stuff I like from, of course, the Big Rubber Guys, getting guys that felt like we could have got them back in the day. So very fun to get the Brooklyn Brawler here. But there he is, just representing Brooklyn, man. Brooklyn, you don't got a better representative than the Brooklyn Brawler. Whenever people think of Brooklyn, I think this is exactly what they think of. So, the typical Brooklyn member of society, I guess. You guys correct me if I'm wrong on that. Does that math check out? What? It does, Todd McFarlane? Well, Todd McFarlane from Couch says it checks out. That's Todd, not me. That's Todd, not me. But Brawler looking good. Little glamour shot down there. Big Rubber Guys, of course. Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, all the usual suspects on the packaging. On the back, look at that cross-sell. That thing grows and grows. When are they going to get rid of some people off here? Like Series 1, when do they fall off the back of the packaging? I guess we'll wait for that. Sooner rather than later, I would have to imagine, at the pace they're up to right now. You just, of course, can slide the packaging out on this one. I think you can, at least, if you're smarter than the packaging, but there we go. Sliding it out. Now, I do save the packaging on these, I will admit. I do save that. No cracks or anything. I've talked about this a lot, how we've had cracks in the packaging. That is very frustrating, of course, but my Brooklyn Brawler is absolutely perfect. Going to put it off to the side. A gentle see you later goodbye, but let's dive into this Brawler here. He's the Brawler from Brooklyn. I know that as well because it has the Brooklyn, New York shirt right there in the middle, looking very good. Of course, couldn't use any Yankees stuff. A lot of times he'd be wearing Yankees memorabilia. Obviously can't do that for licensing reason, and honestly, I don't feel like you really need to do it anyways. I do like the Brooklyn, New York shirt. Very torn, tattered, dirty, smudges, all that kind of stuff, just like the Brooklyn Brawler was back in the day. He does got that kind of taxi cab-like hat on there, paperboy hat, whatever you want to call it, cocked off to the side, looking very nice, all in black. Got that big old cigar, and man, we're seeing cigars left and right lately. We just unboxed the Heels and Faces Big Bully Busick figure on the channel. If you missed that retro, of course, check that out. But he came with a cigar just like the Brooklyn Brawler right here. So just living that Brooklyn life. He could be a Brooklyn cabbie. Who knows? Dark hair, dark beard. Definitely, you hand me this head, I know who this is. Even in this rubberized form, whatever you want to say, still looks like Steve Lombardi to me. I know who that is all day long. And twice on Sunday. Yes, take it to the bank, I do. Love this little fist position. Very cool, very LJN-esque. We never had anybody in quite this exact position for LJN, but this would have worked as a kid. Punches, all kinds of headlocks and things. Maybe some DDTs on this side as well, but he's got two fists balled up, ready to take on all of Brooklyn if he needs to. Got some ratty blue jeans down here that probably need to replace, but he's just not going to give up the fight. You got his underwear poking through on the back, or it's a patch. I'm going to claim it's underwear poking through on these jeans. Down into the black boots. 2024 Big Rubber guys, obviously produced in 2024 on the boat, shipping right now. I just received these in the mail, of course. But looking good. I'm here for it. I like to get a Brooklyn Brawler. Love me a little Brawler action. Stands perfectly right there. Can't ask for much more than this as far as Brooklyn Brawler goes. So looking very, very nice right there. But we're not done. We're going back old school, but we're going to a guy that had an LJN back in the day. Of course, one handsome, one king, one Harley race. And this is the first ever Big Rubber guy to come with a title belt. We're going to see more of that in the future, so I'll have to stay tuned for that. But very, very cool to get the NWA Championship here. A title synonymous with one Harley race, of course, back in the day, and really honestly to this day as well. Had a lot of meetings myself with Harley race over the years. Got to give a shout out to a good friend of the channel, Brian Breaker. He even was trained under Harley race, as did, of course, one Midwest professional wrestling legend, Gage Octane, trained under Harley race, and one Dory Funk Jr. So never forget Midwest professional wrestler Gage Octane over there. Good friend of the channel, of course. But Harley, legend looms large in the Midwest where I am from. You ask any grandpa, any uncle, anybody older than me, basically, they remember, oh, Harley race came to my gymnasium, things like that. Had a guy I work with just the other day telling me he saw in some little high school gym Ric Flair and Harley race back in the early 80s. So Harley made his mark around here. I saw him on a lot of indie shows as well, going to a ton of those, and my friend being a promoter, they brought Harley in all the time, so I got to talk to Harley on numerous occasions, got pictures with him, all kinds of stuff. So shout out to Harley. The legend of Harley race lives on in the Big Rubber guys right here. Harley race, of course. Got the little glamour shot down there. There's the title belt, big window box. Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, Major Bendies present. Cross-sell on the back, nothing too going on. It does say NWA Power down here. So old Billy Corgan obviously gave the Major Brothers the rights to use this for the line. And that was probably what they had to do. Had to put that in there. And we do see that in the front of the package. We also see Harley Race, little logo action there. So obviously you got to pay everything. You got to be able to do all this stuff. You got to pay licensing fees. And I'm glad they could work something out for a title belt. I'm glad they could work things out for a Harley race figure. So very, very fun. Very, very cool. I do have a cracked plastic in here once again. It's usually 50-50 for me, so that is a bummer. I like to save these, as I did mention, but it makes it tough, that thin in there. And these are, of course, these do ship inside of here, but inside of a cardboard box separately, so each one has their own. But it's just, for whatever reason, isn't enough. So that inner tray definitely needs to be strengthened up. Hopefully they can get that done in the future. But speaking of the future is now for the title belt right here. World Heavyweight Champion Wrestling. Canada, beautiful this time of year. Australia, the most beautiful this time of year. Mexico, a little dicey, let's be honest. Depends where you're at. And then Japan, never been there. So one day we'll see what happens to that. But shout out to the title belt here. Nothing too absolutely wild, but it does feel like it could have been in the LJN days. A little bit bigger maybe than the LJN titles, but this one works for me. But I love the idea of getting title belts in this line. Very, very fun. Of course, one of the most prestigious championships of all time right here. So definitely fits for a guy like Harley. Wouldn't be shocked to see this for maybe a Ric Flair in the future. Or it'd be very cool if one day maybe they sell a belt pack where you could get numerous belts they have licensing to, and you could use them with different characters if you want to. Because maybe they can't make any more Ric Flairs, but could they sell a belt separately? I guess it's one of those things to look after. But now we're diving into old handsome Harley Race. He's assuming the position, and the position is trouble. You got to watch out for it, of course. He looks like a little bit... You know who he looks like in the head right here? I know some people will say John C. Reilly, of course. They'll say that one probably. But when I look at this in the face, I see, of course, one of the all-time greats. Of course, pitching legend, Goose Gossage. Yes, Goose Gossage. Never forget the legend of Goose Gossage. Looks just like him. Got those big old mutton chops going on. Got that big old bushy beard. He's ready to party. He's ready to knock back a couple 24 packs. No 12 packs, no messing around here. He's going to save money. He's going to go a little extra. He's going to get a 24 pack, and he might knock 2 out. I used to have a manager at work. He used to drink a 24 pack every single night. He'd be back at work the next day, no problems. Later on in life, had some health challenges, but man, when you're in the thick of it, you're pounding it, man, you're living the life. You're drinking drinking those 24-pack cases every single night like a true professional, I guess what he is. And I think Harley would join in on that a little bit from time to time. But it looks good in the head there. Of course, you got the eyes going on. My right eye might be a tad off center. I'm not the best at judging that, but it does look just a little off in the eye. But your mileage may vary, as of course we always do say. Very plain on the top, but he's got Harley's tattoos up there, man. Just old school grandpa tattoos, what they remind me of. My grandpa had one too. He got in the army up there. That was the thing back in the day, and I guess tattoos are the thing now. I said it before, I'd have full-on sleeves if I could. I just don't know if I can get away with it at work, but maybe one day when I retire, I'll get those sleeves done. Probably not. But does have good tattoos going on. It's nice to get those little extra touches on figures like this. Blue trunks looking good, and then you got the blue and red down here. Reminds me a lot of the classic Superstars figure or the recent Mattel Creations exclusive we just recently got. It would be really cool if they could have got a soft goods robe for this one. Just really go all out. However, that would add quite the cost to this figure, as we do know. But maybe some of the third-party companies, they make robes, they make shirts for the Mattel Elites, the Jazzwares figures. Maybe they could step up their game, make some for some of these big rubber guys and some of the old LJNs. I think that'd be a pretty cool idea. But this Harley race looking very nice. And as I did mention, not the first Harley race we've ever received. We got King Harley race back in the day. I remember being a little kid getting this one, and Harley was not on TV, and I was very confused that he was the king. And I was like, yeah, what? He must have been a king at one time. Thankfully for my VHS stores, I could go rent stuff and find out, okay, that's who that King Harley race was. So I did get to find out later on. But very cool to get two different points in Harley's career. And I think most people that love the Harley race throughout the years, they like this look maybe a little bit more. Taking a header. Than the King, but the King definitely has some classicness to him, definitely warrants inclusion in the LJN line back in the day, I really felt. Just like this one, I'm happy to have all these years later in this line. So very, very fun, old Harley race, rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling, because that's what he did. He was a true rocker at the end of the day. Maybe not, but one guy that was a bit of a rocker, not like a Sean and Marty rocker, rocking to the beat of his own drum. We're talking about Jeff Hardy, of course, the more current day performer in this one. Now, we got his brother Matt Hardy. We'll compare that in a second. He was in the last wave. I'm glad they didn't wait on the Jeff Hardy. Let's strike while we can. Let's get those two really close together. I'm sure they would have been in the same series if Jeff would have been released around the same time as Matt, but it didn't work out. However, thankfully it was about a month later, so the Hardy Boys coming to the big rubber guys together. I think that is pretty cool to get one of the, whether you like them or not, one of the most famous tag teams in wrestling history is the Hardy Boys. Maybe not the most iconic between the two gears. I think a lot of people would like younger Hardys, and maybe that's possible, but these are modern day, I guess we'll call them TNA Hardys as we sit right now. But there it is, old Jeff Hardy, guns up. So he's dueling it. He's got it here and got it here. He's ready to go. He's ready to party. And let me tell you, Jeff Hardy always ready to party. It's a Hardy party if there ever was one. Jeff Hardy, Major Bendy's, big rubber guys, all the usual stuff. Major Bendy's on the side. Same backing, all the usual suspects back there. None of the Harley race stuff on the back of this one, though, as makes sense. It's obviously not Harley race, but Harley had a little extra logos and things on that figure, so that's one thing to make note of. Now, unfortunately on this, I do have some serious cracking on this bubble. This is probably the worst bubble I've ever received. Totally cracked down here, totally cracked here, and unfortunately, even the outer case on mine is totally shattered down here. I don't know if it's just the way he's positioned. He's a little squattier, a little heavier. Maybe that's the reason he kind of fell apart, I guess we'll call it, off to the side. See you later. It is unfortunate, but man, that is my only gripe I really have with these big rubber guys. It's just, I'm a kid of the LJN era. I absolutely love this stuff, but I just wish they'd get that inner tray a little bit stronger plastic, especially for your mint-on card collectors out there that want to display these mint-on card. Gets pretty tough if your case is all cracked up. I get that right there. But here we are, Jeff Hardy. Looks like Jeff Hardy, looks like something he would do. However, I remember if I was a little kid, I would say, how would this be to play with? This would be a tough Jeff Hardy to play with. I mean, you could do some aerial stuff, I guess, maybe some moonsaults and cross bodies. You could do that eye poke if you want to. But he'd be a tough one to play with, I do think, as a kid. So I will say, though, very toyetic, very colorful, the most colorful big rubber guy so far. You got all that face paint going on. I am definitely a sucker for face paint. Not going to change my ways now, so I like what I see there. Very stoic look, got the long black hair back, got those big old earrings over there. What would my grandma say? If she was here, she'd say, oh, that boy in his ears, what was he thinking of? You better not do that to your ears, Kyle. That's what she'd say. And I'd say, don't worry, Grandma, I'm not gonna. But he does got the old salute right there on the hands, got a little of that tattoo poking through as well. Very cool to see. Very cool arm sleeves on this one, very colorful. Same with the belt. He's full of pride, apparently. Who knew? But here he is, very prideful there. Got the belt going on. Black jumpsuit throughout, black pants there. Got a little white on the boots, of course, very Hardy style. Very small, squatty feet. Hopefully he stands on his own. He does stand on his own, so how about that? I like that they're making all these easy to stand. I think that is one thing they need to continue to do in this line. Make sure they all stand on their own. We don't want weird hands or weird feet, so guys are tipping over, falling over, domoing your whole collection. We don't want to see any of that. So to make them stand very nice like these three, I am here for that. And I'm also here for Matt Hardy to go with his brother Jeff. Going to go in for that hug. He's just going to go in for that side hug. That's what he's going to do. Looking very good, though, to get the Hardy boys rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling. Once again, the old Jeff Hardy party here today. And you got Harley, you got the Brooklyn Brawler. Another fun lineup, and every lineup gets a little bit funner than the last, maybe, except the Road Warriors. Pretty tough to beat, as you guys saw in my year-end countdown. I'm looking forward to a lot of stuff from this line. I have very high expectations for this line going forward. Want to see all the classic NWA, WCW guys from back in the day. Maybe a pinch of new talent, but they got to be careful with the new talent, I do think. But they're playing a lot of hits for me. Can't wait to get, of course, the Brain Busters, Horsemen, whatever you want to call them, Tully and Arn. Hoping that we see Barry Windham with Epic Toys, that we get Barry Windham over here. Would love a Four Horsemen shelf. Let's get J.J. Dillon a part of this. They need a manager. I think that would be a slam dunk to get J.J. Dillon. There's just a lot of characters I would like to see along with these, and I'm just here for the ride, I guess, throughout 2025 and hopefully beyond. But there it is, the latest and greatest Big Rubber Guys wave. What are your guys' thoughts? Pickups, passes, long games, no game, no game? Well, let me know in the comments your thoughts right here. Of course, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the old notification bell. Check out my Patreon for all kinds of bonus stuff. Appreciate the support over there. ProWrestlingTees.com, search Kyle Peterson, my book. Now available digitally. It is The Classic Superstars, The Complete Guide by yours truly. Sir Ball 64 on, of course, the X. The _Kyle _Peterson on Threads, Instagram. And don't forget TikTok, man. That's where all the partying goes down. Check it out over there. So for the latest and greatest Big Rubber Guys, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.
We're going to the end of the line.